So we are here at the 7th International Symposium on Energy and Protein Metabolism and Nutrition in Granada, Spain, with Dr. Jaap van Milgen, who is a senior researcher within RAI in France. He has been doing animal nutrition for several years, very well-known researcher. And tomorrow, he is going to discuss the needs for infrastructure to do animal nutrition research. Dr. Van Milgen, welcome, and please let us know what you are going to discuss tomorrow here in the meeting.
Thank you very much. Well, yeah, we're going to talk about infrastructures. What are our needs for the future to have infrastructures for pigs? And this is done in a European context because I coordinate a project called PigWeb. And if you type PigWeb on Google, you find all the information that you have. It's a European project funded for 5 years. And we have different aspects in that project. One of the aspects is we open up for researchers external to the project partners to do their research in our infrastructures. It will be paid for by the European Commission. And also one of the activities that we do is we want to think about what infrastructures do we need in the future? How can we share them? How can we open them up? How can we make them more compatible? How can we share data? And tomorrow I will address a very specific issue related to Europe, because the European Parliament has asked the European Commission to develop an action plan to ban animal experimentation in Europe. The only exceptions are perhaps for medical research, for diseases, but animal research was not indicated as something absolutely needed. So this means that we have to think as animal scientists, what are our arguments towards society? What are our arguments towards legislators that to say that we need this? Just saying that we need a better estimate of requirements is not sufficient. We will not convince citizens to do that. So we have to develop arguments to say why animal research installations are needed in the future in Europe.
Very interesting, Dr. Van Milgen. But what do you see as the priority, the main priorities that we need to follow? Probably to concentrate on emissions and the environmental impact, or also on the general sustainability and the circularity of the resources?
No, I think all the aspects that you need are crucial, and these are the aspects that society is concerned about the sustainability, the acceptability of animal production and animal production research. So we have to be much more open towards society about what we are doing. Animal production, we are not very open towards society what we're doing. We don't like to show the images of how animals are produced. We even like less to show the images about how we do animal research. But we have to be much more open towards society about what we're doing so that people can make their own choice whether they want to consume animal-derived products or not.
Perfect. And another factor that is very important with animal research is also to think in these behaviors that they have and how they are affected, as we are seeing in this meeting, when we have different nutrients, different feeding times, and all these factors that also play a role in the acceptability of the research in the communities. So do you think that with the new sensors that we can put, new cameras, machine vision, those kind of things should be adapted to these research centers?
Absolutely. That is something that is changing and has changed in the last years, and it's going to change more in the years to come. We all have a cell phone now with a few sensors in there, and Google or others make software integrating this information and makes life easier for us. It makes recommendations for us. Animal research and animal production will use the same types of tools in the future. And the milking robot in cows exists for more than 35 years, I know. Precision feeding in swine is quite recent. We're doing it in a research setting, but we are monitoring much more and more these days, which is really important because with this monitoring, we need less invasive research, experimental research. We can monitor animals continuously by looking at their feed intake patterns. We can use cameras to follow them. We can use infrared sensors to detect whether they may have a disease. And we can do it on an individual basis, which is a tremendous asset for the future.
And in those aspects that you have mentioned for precision feeding, do you think that is just to control the feed intake and the weight of the animals, or there are other aspects that also need to be controlling in that precision feed, and other responses that we need to quantify?
Well, I think one of the most interesting aspects of precision feeding is that we can try to feed animals individually. Animals have different requirements in terms of protein, in terms of energy, because they may run a little bit more than another one. So what we can do in precision feeding is feed animals according to their requirements. And that is something that is really an asset for the future.
Well, thank you, Dr. Van Milgen, for your time, and we hope to have you in future interviews here in Nutri News International, and thanks for your attendance.